Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Vientiane, Lao PDR on 10th to 11th October 2024 to attend the 21st ASEAN-India Summit and 19th East Asia Summit. Indian President Draupadi Murmu to visit Algeria, Mauritania and Malawi from 13th to 19th October. Israel's Prime Minister urges Lebanese people to throw out Hezbollah to avoid further destruction like Gaza. Scientists David Baker, Demis Hassabis and John Jumper win the 2024 Nobel Prize in Chemistry. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be travelling to Laos on 10th October at the invitation of Laotian counterpart. Prime Minister will be on a two-day visit, attending the 21st ASEAN-India Summit and the 19th East Asia Summit.
The Prime Minister will be travelling to Vientiane in Lao PDR for the 21st ASEAN-India Summit and the 19th East Asia Summit. At the invitation of His Excellency Prime Minister Sifandon of Lao PDR, the visit will be over 10th and 11th of October. The significance of this particular summit will be that it is the 10th anniversary of Prime Minister's Act East policy. Prime Minister will, along with other heads of state and government of ASEAN countries, review the progress in the relations between India and ASEAN over this time, and they will chart the future direction of our relationship.
The Wat Pho Temple Complex, a UNESCO World Heritage Site which is being restored and conserved by Archaeological Survey of India, is believed to be over 1,000 years old. The Champsak cultural landscape stretches from the sacred mountain of Linga Parvata to the Mekong River. The Wat Pho site was originally built as a Hindu temple complex in the early 11th century. On his visit to Laos, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be briefed about the work that ASI has been carrying out over the past 15 years.
ASI is currently carrying out a conservation project at the Wat Pho Temple Complex in the Champasak province of Lao PDR, and we are joined in by the Director of Conservation of the Archaeological Survey of India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be witnessing the work that has been done by the ASI officials here in Laos. What do you have to say about the project?
We have shared a cultural legacy with Lao PDR and other South Asian countries, and in 2007, as far as Laos Champasak province Wat Pho complex is concerned, we have signed in an MOU with the government of India and government of Lao PDR to take up the conservation of the Wat Pho complex, which is a World Heritage Site. It was declared in 2001, and when we taken this site over, it was in a very dilapidated state of condition, and then gradually we did the documentation of the site, and the restoration work then started as per the conservation principle. We have done lots of work in two phases. The first phase was from 2007 to 17, and then the second phase is going on now from 2018 to 2028.
The ASI team was able to excavate a number of maybe we can say idols of Hindu gods and goddesses. What do you have to tell about what memories do they bring?
You can see that Parvati and Lord Shiva is on the Nandi. So this itself reflects that how Indian culture has influenced this place.
What is the feedback or what is the kind of response that they get when they are restoring such important projects which are attached with religious beliefs?
The government authorities, be it in Myanmar, be it in Laos or Cambodia, they are very much, they do very much cooperate with us, and they encourage us. We we take experts like artisans from them, and we involve them also in this during this conservation project.
The Prime Minister will be here tomorrow and he will be witnessing the progress that has been made in this conservation project. What will you be explaining to him?
We want to show what we had been doing for the last 15 years, and from the point we know the MOU which in whichever country it expires, they willingly sign MOU for the next project.
That Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be here in Vientiane on the 10th of October and he will be witnessing the work that the ASI officials have done on the ground for the preservation and conservation of the shared cultural heritage between India and Lao PDR. With camera person Mahesh Sharma, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Vientiane, Lao PDR.
Indian Prime Minister will be visiting Lao People's Democratic Republic on Thursday. India and Lao PDR share historical and civilizational links reflecting Buddhism and Ramayana connect. DD India's Meghna Dev gets us more.
India and Lao People's Democratic Republic have historical and civilizational links reflected in the common heritage of Buddhism and Ramayana. Lao PDR recently issued a postage stamp featuring Sri Ram Lalla of Ayodhya, making it the first country in the world to issue a stamp depicting the revered deity.
Ramayana is a special theme generally for performances of theatre in the ASEAN countries, and it is considered a shared heritage of the Eastern world. Ramayana is also popularly known as Fralak Fraram, or also known as Ramakien in the Southeast Asian region, and it is performed on auspicious occasions like the New Year or major festivals. When we actually see that most of the action of this epic is based alongside the Mekong River, which is the Southeast Asian mainland and is somewhat what Ganga means to India.
Buddhism is another aspect that traces our deep civilizational linkages. Many monks from Laos still go to Bodh Gaya to study. Monk Solidet Duangchansev, monk from Lao PDR, is pursuing Buddhist studies at the Nalanda University under a scholarship provided by the ICCR.
My name is Monk Solidet Duangchansev. I am Buddhist monk from Laos PDR. Now I am studying at Nalanda University under ICCR scholarship. This scholarship provided by Government of India. India and Laos PDR have a close civilizational ties reflected in common heritage of Buddhism. These ties have been given an impetus to increase dynamic promotion of Buddhist thinkers and our common heritage, which includes the exchange of Buddhist scholars from different parts of the country.
The Ramayana, popular throughout South and Southeast Asia, was first brought to the ancient Lao kingdom of Lane Sang centuries ago, reportedly by Buddhist missions. The historical connections between India and Laos continue to influence their modern close relationship. Today, this shared heritage is reflected in ongoing cultural and a robust development partnership cooperation. Meghna Dev's report for DD India.
India's President Draupadi Murmu will embark on a state visit to 3 African countries, namely Algeria, Mauritania, Malawi, from 13th to 19th of October 2024. This will be the first ever visit by Indian head of state to the 3 African nations. President's first stop will be Algeria.
At the invitation of President of People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, His Excellency Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, Honorable Rashtrapati Ji will be undertaking a state visit to Algeria from 13 to 15 October 2024. This will be the first ever visit by the President of India to Algeria, and a visit at the level of head of state or head of government after 39 years.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that carbon border adjustment mechanism of the EU is against the interests of countries like India. The CBAM is a carbon tariff on imported goods to European Union that must disclose the carbon cost of the production. It is currently in a transitional phase up to 2025. It is expected to take effect in 2026. It will adversely impact India's exports of iron, steel and aluminium to the EU.
You have unilateral measures like the CBAM, the cross-border adjustment mechanism which is coming, which is going to hurt our industry. I'm not sure whether it is WTO compliant, but we have been told this, well, it could be WTO compliant, but I think it's unilateral And as a country which has proven its record, and for international agencies to have recognized that India is keeping its commitment and fulfilling it, to have to face unilateral measures like this will be the challenge for which I am not sure how we can foresee, because there's not going to be one, there can be many. But they are unilateral and are not helpful.
While talking to the Financial Times at the FT Energy Transition Summit in New Delhi, Finance Minister highlighted that India has fulfilled its COP21 commitments well before schedule. She said all forms of non-fossil fuel energy are being promoted to provide the right traction for growth and transition.
At least the mileposts which are before me, 2030, and then thereafter, yes, I'm on track. Because the number of specific achievements which makes me feel that 2030 will be achieved probably well in time, like the way we've done before.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has urged Lebanese people to free their country from Hezbollah, urging the Lebanese people to oust Hezbollah in an address directed at them. Israel's Prime Minister said that this could help Lebanon avoid the destruction and suffering like witnessed in Gaza.
You have an opportunity that hasn't existed in decades. An opportunity to take care of the future of your children and grandchildren. You have an opportunity to save Lebanon before it falls into the abyss of a long war that will lead to destruction and suffering like we see in Gaza.
Moving on, scientists David Baker, Demis Hassabis and John Jumper jointly won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for 2024. Baker was chosen for his work on computational protein design, while Hassabis and Jumper were recognized for their work on protein structure prediction. Awarded by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences, the prize contains worth 11 million Swedish crowns and follows awards for medicine and physics. The trade dispute between the European Union and China is escalating. Beijing announced it is imposing anti-dumping measures on brandy imported from EU on Tuesday. The decision came days after 27-state bloc voted for tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. And joining us with more is DW correspondent Chiponda Chimbelu in Berlin. Chiponda, can you bring us up to speed with the developments in the trade dispute?
Thanks for having me. Well, starting Friday, China-based importers of brandy that is made in the EU will have to pay tariffs between 30% and 39%. The Chinese government said it was making the move to protect China's domestic brandy industry. Now, the European Union says China's move violates free trade rules and it will lodge a complaint at the World Trade Organization. Beijing's brandy tariff announcement came just days after the EU approved a hike in tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. And it means the trade row between Brussels and Beijing now involves two major sectors, the auto industry and agriculture. And going forward, the EU will have to find a way to strike a balance between the varying interests of its member states when it comes to these two sectors.
So what can you tell us about the response of the stakeholders?
Well, the market responded very swiftly on Tuesday. The shares of Rémy Cointreau tumbled more than 6%, and Pernod Ricard, which owns Martell Cognac, and LVMH, the owner of Hennessy Cognac, shed more than 3%. Now, yesterday, French cognac makers called for an end to the escalation of the trade spat between the EU and China. Now, China, of course, imports most of its brandy from France. And what is interesting is that France was one of the countries that voted to slap tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. Germany was against the decision because the move could hurt its auto industry. The leaders of the big three German car makers, BMW, Daimler, and Volkswagen, all oppose the tariff hike on Chinese-made electric vehicles. And that is because China is a major market for them. and it has contributed a huge chunk to their revenues. Now, this is why Beijing's brandy tariff is being seen as a retaliation. And the question is whether it will stop there, because, of course, France wasn't the only country that voted in favor of the EU tariffs last week.
Right, and what more can we expect ahead in this ongoing dispute?
Well, Beijing's move came a bit of a surprise, to be honest. With its retaliation, China made a U-turn on a decision that was announced late August, when it said it would not impose tariffs on EU-made brandy imports. And it definitely looks like the trade row between the EU and China isn't going away anytime soon. Beijing has anti-dumping investigations into European dairy and pork imports, and it has launched a complaint over the EU's anti-subsidy investigation into Chinese-made electric vehicles. For Brussels, this will be a lot about balancing the different interests of its member states like France and Germany, and also managing any fallout from any retaliation by China.
Chiponda Chembelu, thank you. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Cabinet approves roads in border area of Rajasthan and Punjab. India's central bank RBI keeps repo rate unchanged at 6.5%.
This weekend on Defense Dynamic, we will take you on a thrilling ride with most exciting aerial display by the Indian Air Force held at Chennai, celebrating their 92nd anniversary. As the tensions rise in West Asia, we look at the options available with both Israel and Iran. We will tell you how US forces are deployed in this volatile region, and also how will this emerging situation likely to impact upon India. We will talk about Israeli Iron Dome system and discuss India's air defense shield. All this on Defense Dynamics this Wednesday at 8:30 PM IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has approved construction of 2,280-kilometer roads in border areas of Indian states of Rajasthan and Punjab, with an investment of about 4,400 crore Indian rupees. The decision will have a major impact on the road and telecom connectivity and facilities of water supply, health and education.
राजस्थान और पंजाब के जो बॉर्डर एरियाज हैं, बड़ा बॉर्डर है दोनों के दोनों राज्यों का मिला के, तो राजस्थान और पंजाब के जो बॉर्डर एरियाज हैं उसमें 2,280 किलोमीटर्स नए रोड नेटवर्क का डेवलप करने का आज निर्णय लिया गया। 2,280 किलोमीटर्स, करीब 4,400 करोड़ का इसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट आएगा। 4,406 करोड़, बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा बॉर्डर एरियाज में, लाइवलीहुड पे, कनेक्टिविटी पे, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन पे, लोगों के आने जाने में, एजुकेशन के लिए, हेल्थ केयर के लिए, ट्रेड के लिए, हर तरीके से अपने सोशल नीड्स के लिए जो ट्रैवल की एक बहुत बड़ी फैसिलिटी इससे बनेगी।
Union Cabinet also approved the development of National Maritime Heritage Complex at Lothal, Gujarat.
लोथल में नेशनल मैरीटाइम हेरिटेज कॉम्प्लेक्स डेवलप किया जाएगा। पूरे भारत की रिच और डाइवर्स मैरीटाइम हेरिटेज को दिखाना और वर्ल्ड का सबसे लार्जेस्ट मैरीटाइम हेरिटेज कॉम्प्लेक्स बनाना, ये एक बहुत बड़ा संकल्प है आज के इस कैबिनेट के डिसीजन में। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने इसमें बहुत फोकस दिया है, क्योंकि गुजरात में सीएम रहते हुए उन्होंने इसको एक तरीके से बहुत डीप में स्टडी किया था। कई इसमें यूनिक फीचर्स होंगे, एक लाइट हाउसेस का म्यूजियम होगा, शिप बिल्डिंग का एक्सपीरियंस होगा, डॉक्स होंगे, और लोथल का जो टाउन का उस टाइम का जो पूरा डिजाइन था, वो कंप्लीट टाउन का डिजाइन वहां पे बनाया जाएगा।
The Reserve Bank of India on Wednesday kept the repo rate unchanged at 6.5% for the 10th time in a row. The Monetary Policy Committee decided to change the monetary policy stance to neutral and remain unambiguously focused on a durable alignment of inflation with the target while supporting growth.
After assessing the evolving macroeconomic and financial conditions and the outlook, the MPC decided by a majority of 5 out of 6 members to keep the policy repo rate unchanged at 6.5%. Consequently, the standing deposit facility, that is the SDF rate, remains at 6.25%, and the marginal standing facility, that is the MSF rate and the bank rate, they stand at 6.75%.
As India's economic potential continues to grow, economists and trade experts point that India is an attractive destination for foreign investment. Jessica Taneja caught up with Professor Robert Lawrence of Harvard Kennedy School to discuss the fast adoption of China Plus One strategy and India's economic growth.
We have with us Robert Lawrence. He's a professor at Harvard Kennedy School. Thank you for joining us on this conversation at DD India. Talking about India and its, in its role in the global economy at this point, and with many businesses now looking at a China Plus One strategy, how crucial is it for businesses to now consider India as one of the most important partners in the region?
Well, I think this is a great opportunity, actually, for India. It finds itself both positioned to trade with China and to trade with the United States. And so as a location, it's an attractive place for foreign firms to come and invest. Of course, it requires India to take the steps to welcome them. So I think a combination of India's current advantageous strategic position and the right kind of policies can allow India to attract many foreign investors.
You've been here at the summit for the last 2 days. What is the energy that you have picked up when it comes to how the landscape is evolving, particularly when it comes to doing business in India?
Well, I first came to India in 1987, so I can draw a stark comparison. And I think first the kind of improvements that have occurred in both physical infrastructure and intellectual infrastructure have been immense. So I think India is in a much better position today to, in fact, attract foreign investors and to grow more generally. Firms look around the world to where the growth is, and India is the fastest growing large economy in the world.
And you think that he'll continue to hold that interest when it comes to investors?
Absolutely. I don't think you can take it for granted. I think you do need to work hard on making those companies welcome. But nonetheless, I think you're in a great position to succeed.
After a resounding victory in the state of Haryana, Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, is all set to form government for the third time. In an exclusive conversation with BJP's Shakti Rani Sharma, who secured a win by a margin of about 10,000 votes from the Kalka constituency, Sharma shares her joy over the results and outlined her roadmap for the future.
After thumping victory in the Haryana Assembly elections, the Bharatiya Janata Party is all set for its hat-trick in the state. And to talk more, I have with me Shakti Rani Sharma, who won from the Kalka constituency assembly and won by a huge margin of around 10,800 votes.
It's a great feeling because the people believed in what I said, and I am very thankful to the people of Kalka that they trusted in me.
Talking about the road ahead, how do you see the road ahead now? You've won from this constituency, and BJP also promised many things in its manifesto for every sector, including sport, women empowerment and farmers.
Definitely we will work on all our promises which we made, and I'm very categorically I told my people through my meetings that whatever I said, I'm committed to that, and I will fulfill all those promises which I made to them, the development of this area and empowerment of the women as well, and as well jobs for the jobless.
Thank you so much for talking to us. That was Ms. Shakti Rani Sharma, who won from the Kalka Constituency Assembly and who said that she will be resolving the problems of common people, and drug menace is something she'll be working on, and she'll also be working towards women empowerment and resolving the common issues of the people of Kalka. With camera person Ramakant, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India in Chandigarh.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has recommended to the Finance Ministry to allow import of vehicles without affecting Sri Lanka's foreign reserves. The forex reserves, which had plummeted to unprecedented levels in the year 2022, have now risen to about $6 billion. He added that Finance Ministry should take decision whether to allow vehicle imports that way. The government of Sri Lanka had decided to suspend vehicle imports in 2021 due to economic crisis triggered by the COVID pandemic. As the severe economic crisis continues to persist, authorities decided to further continue with the restrictions on vehicle imports. As the Indian Army celebrates the 75th Raising Day of the Territorial Army across the country, we leave you with these visuals showcasing the valor. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan this QR code on your screens to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.